Fifth episode picks up immediately after the devastating events of the previous chapter, leaving Lucky with no chance to mourn the death of her husband, Carrie. The only person who truly understood her is gone, but instead of grieving, she is forced to keep running. After crashing into another vehicle, an elderly woman is injured, and when paramedics arrive, Lucky quickly improvises an escape. Pretending to be the woman's granddaughter, she climbs into the ambulance and accompanies her to the hospital, hoping to avoid the police closing in on her. The emotional and physical strain finally catches up with her. Shortly after arriving at the hospital, Lucky collapses and is admitted for treatment. Once she regains consciousness, however, survival instincts immediately take over. Knowing the authorities could identify her at any moment, she decides she has to leave before anyone recognizes her. Although her white dress is stained with blood, she quietly slips through the hospital corridors, trying to blend in with the crowd. Before escaping, Lucky has an unexpected encounter in the restroom with Rand's teenage daughter. The young girl is overwhelmed with guilt after arguing with her mother, admitting that the last thing she told Rand was that she hated her. Lucky comforts the teenager and encourages her to find her mother and tell her how much she loves her before it's too late. Their conversation soon becomes deeply personal. Lucky admits that she often told her own father she hated him, but that was never the truth. In reality, she loved him so much that she feared the extreme lengths she was willing to go to protect him. She despised herself for that unhealthy attachment more than she ever hated John. Neither of them realizes the irony of the situation. Rand's daughter has unknowingly received comfort from the very fugitive her mother has been desperately hunting. After leaving the hospital unnoticed, Lucky heads to a nearby hotel. The receptionist is clearly concerned by her appearance but chooses not to question her, simply offering her the cheapest available room. For the first time in days, Lucky finally has a chance to stop running. She fills the bathtub and sinks beneath the water, allowing herself a brief moment of silence. As she lies there, fragmented memories of her troubled past flash through her mind, reminding her that her entire life has been defined by constant escape, from criminals, from the police, and from the consequences of her father's choices. Now completely alone, the weight of Carrie's death finally crashes over her. She breaks down, mourning the only person who ever accepted her completely. Haunted by guilt, she begins questioning whether she is simply destined to destroy everyone she loves. She abandoned Carrie's body at the crash site and fled, leaving behind the man who sacrificed everything for her. Looking back at every tragedy in her life, Lucky wonders if she has always been the common denominator. Trying to feel closer to him one last time, she changes into Carrie's clothes before heading to the hotel bar. There she meets a stranger whose own problems seem insignificant compared to hers. The man explains that his flight has been canceled, meaning he will miss his daughter's birthday. He worries his absence could permanently damage their relationship. Lucky reassures him with surprising honesty. She tells him that the simple fact he is worried about disappointing his daughter proves he is already a good father. Growing up with John taught her exactly what an uncaring parent looked like, making her appreciate fathers who genuinely try. During the conversation, Lucky admits something she normally never would. On any other day, she says, she would have invented a story and manipulated him into paying for her hotel room. But today she cannot bring herself to lie. She has begun wondering whether she has become a bad person, and for once, she simply wants someone to talk to without pretending to be someone else. Meanwhile, another emotional storyline unfolds elsewhere. It is revealed that Wayne Whitaker, the powerful criminal pursuing the missing $10 million, is actually Carrie's biological father. Priscilla has kept this secret for years, never expecting Wayne to play any role in Carrie's life. Yet after losing her son, she secretly hopes his death might stir some humanity within Wayne. Although she knows better than to expect compassion from him, Priscilla organizes an elaborate funeral, partly because she desperately wants Wayne to attend. She believes Carrie's death might finally bridge the distance between them, or at least convince Wayne to acknowledge the son he ignored for years. Unfortunately, her hopes are crushed when Wayne never appears. After the funeral, Priscilla takes Carrie's ashes to the ocean to scatter them in peace. To her surprise, Lucky arrives there unexpectedly. Overwhelmed with guilt, Lucky finally admits that she doesn't actually possess the $10 million everyone believes she has. Priscilla refuses to believe her explanation. She remains convinced Carrie must have revealed the location of the money before he died. Warning Lucky that her patience has nearly run out, Priscilla demands she recover the fortune as quickly as possible. She promises that, if they meet again without the money, she will no longer show the mercy she has displayed so far. Left feeling trapped and completely hopeless, Lucky returns home believing every possible lead has vanished. Little does she realize that the answer she has been searching for has been with her all along. Back at home, Lucky's frustration reaches its breaking point. In a moment of anger, she repeatedly slams her head against the teddy bear Carrie had once given her. The seemingly ordinary toy suddenly activates, revealing a hidden voice recorder. To Lucky's amazement, Carrie had secretly recorded the cryptocurrency seed phrase needed to access the missing $10 million. As his voice begins playing, she realizes he had planned for this possibility all along. Carrie knew she would never throw away the teddy bear, ensuring that one day she would accidentally discover the recording if anything ever happened to him. Overcome with relief and emotion, Lucky finally gains access to the fortune that everyone has been hunting. At the same time, Priscilla decides to confront Wayne Whitaker directly. Carrying Carrie's urn into his office, she demands to know why he couldn't even show enough respect to attend his own son's funeral. She reminds Wayne that she never asked him for child support or expected him to be a father, but she had at least hoped he would acknowledge Carrie after his death. Wayne remains completely unmoved. He coldly replies that Priscilla was already well compensated years ago, reducing their shared history to nothing more than a financial arrangement. Furious, Priscilla throws the urn against the wall behind him, shouting that Carrie deserved far better than the indifference shown by his own father. Wayne refuses to be emotionally manipulated. He bluntly states that Carrie signed his own death warrant the moment he stole the $10 million. He even implies that, if necessary, he would have killed his own son to recover what belonged to him. When Priscilla declares she is no longer afraid because she has nothing left to lose, Wayne calmly proves her wrong by pulling out a gun and pressing it against her temple. Terrified, Priscilla begins hyperventilating, exposing that despite her grief, she still fears death. Wayne orders her to clean up the mess she made and recover his money before sending her away. Meanwhile, Detective Rand refuses to slow down despite recently being hospitalized. Ignoring her family's concerns, she checks herself out early so she can continue hunting Lucky. While reviewing the investigation files at home, her daughter notices Lucky's photograph and suddenly remembers meeting her in the hospital restroom. Although she cannot provide many details, she recalls Lucky speaking about her father with surprising affection. That single conversation gives Rand the breakthrough she has been searching for. She realizes that despite everything John has put his daughter through, Lucky's loyalty to him remains unshaken. If Lucky has nowhere else to turn after Carrie's death, she will almost certainly seek out her father. Convinced she has found the perfect trap, Rand arranges for John to be released from prison years before his sentence is complete. Officially, it appears to be an act of mercy, but the real purpose is far more strategic. Rand intends to use John as bait, believing Lucky will eventually reveal herself by contacting him. John immediately recognizes that something is wrong. Having 8 years remaining on his sentence, he knows an early release makes little sense. Smart enough to understand law enforcement's tactics, he quickly realizes someone is using him to draw Lucky out, although he cannot yet identify who is behind the plan. As Rand predicted, John contacts Lucky almost immediately after leaving prison. Lucky is preparing to board a flight when she receives his phone call. Rather than continuing with her escape, she changes her plans at once. She also figures out Rand's strategy, recognizing that her father's release is nothing more than an elaborate trap designed to lure her into the open. Instead of avoiding it, Lucky decides to turn Rand's plan against her. She arranges to meet John at one of their familiar hiding places. Although John is concerned by his daughter's battered appearance, he never apologizes for the dangerous life he forced her into. Even now, he remains self-centered, taking for granted that Lucky will continue risking everything to protect him. The encounter once again highlights the unhealthy bond between them, suggesting that Lucky can never truly find freedom until she finally breaks away from her father's influence. The episode builds toward a shocking conclusion when Lucky reveals the final stage of her own plan. Rather than running from the police once again, she and John simply wait together for Detective Rand and her officers to arrive. When the police surround them, Lucky greets Rand with a smile and jokes that she took long enough to get there. Both father and daughter willingly surrender without resistance, leaving everyone, including Rand, confused by their unexpected decision. John's calm expression suggests he trusts whatever strategy Lucky has devised, even though the audience still doesn't know the details.